I need to confess something. For 3 years, I lied to everyone. My parents would call and ask, "How's your job going?" I'd say, "Great. Just got a raise, actually." My friends would text, "Want to grab dinner this weekend?" I'd reply, "Sure." "Let's try that new place downtown." My girlfriend would suggest, "We should take a trip this summer." "Maybe Europe?" I'd smile and say, "Let's do it. I'll start looking at flights." But the truth? I was drowning. I had 7 credit cards, $43,000 in debt, and I was paying $1,200 every single month just to cover the minimum payments, money that wasn't even touching the principal balance. I was working 60 hours a week just to stay afloat, and every single month, despite sending them over $1,000, the debt grew bigger, not smaller, bigger. I couldn't afford dinner with friends. I couldn't take a vacation. I could barely afford groceries. But I smiled. I lied. I pretended everything was fine, because admitting the truth that a piece of plastic had destroyed my financial life felt like admitting I was a failure. This is the story of how credit card companies trapped me in a cycle I couldn't escape, and why they're designed to do exactly that. My name is Alex. I'm 28 years old now, but this story starts when I was 22. I just graduated from college with a degree in marketing. I landed my first real job at a digital advertising agency in Chicago, making $38,000 a year. After taxes and student loan payments, I was taking home about $2,400 a month. Rent was $950. Utilities were $100. My car payment was $280. Insurance was $120. Student loans were $350. Phone bill was $80. That left me with about $520 a month for food, gas, and everything else. It was tight, but it was manageable. I was young, optimistic, and ready to build my life. Then, one day, I checked my mail. There it was, a thick, glossy envelope with bold letters, "You've been pre-approved." Inside was a letter from Chase Bank. "Congratulations. Based on your excellent credit history, you've been pre-approved for the Chase Freedom Unlimited card with a $5,000 credit limit. Enjoy 0% APR for the first 15 months plus 5% cash back on all purchases." I stared at it. $5,000. That was more than 2 months of my salary. And they were just giving it to me for free. No application process, no interview, no questions. I'd never had a credit card before. My parents always told me to avoid them. "They're traps," my dad would say. "Once you get one, you'll never pay it off." But this felt different. This was a tool, a safety net. And besides, I wasn't going to use it irresponsibly. I was smarter than that. So I applied. 2 days later, the card arrived. For the first few months, I was careful. I only used the card for emergencies. My car needed new tires, $400 on the card. My laptop broke and I needed it for work, $800 on the card. My girlfriend's birthday dinner, $150 on the card, but I always paid it off. Every month I'd send them a payment and my balance would go down. It felt powerful, like I had a financial cushion, a backup plan. And then, slowly, things started to change. I'd be at the grocery store and I'd think, I'll just put it on the card and pay it off later. I'd see a jacket I liked, and I'd think, it's only $120. I'll pay it off next month. I'd go out with friends, and when the check came, I'd offer to put it on my card. "Just Venmo me," I'd say, but sometimes people forgot, and I didn't push it. Within 6 months, my $5,000 limit was maxed out. I didn't panic. I was still making payments, and besides, I just received another letter. This one was from Discover. Congratulations! You've been pre-approved for the Discover It card with a $3,500 credit limit. I thought, perfect. I'll use this one to pay off some of the Chase card and then I'll be back on track. That's when the cycle began. By the time I was 24, I had 4 credit cards. Chase, $5,000 limit, $4,800 balance. Discover, $3,500 limit, $3,200 balance. Capital One, $4,000 limit, $3,600 balance. American Express, $2,500 limit, $2,400 balance. Total debt, $14,000. My minimum payments were now $420 a month, and I was barely covering them. But here's the thing I didn't understand at the time. Minimum payments are designed to keep you in debt forever. Let me show you the math. On my Chase card, my balance was $4,800. The minimum payment was $96 a month. The interest rate was 22.99% APR. If I paid only the minimum, do you know how long it would take to pay off that $4,800? 23 years. And do you know how much I would pay in total? $14,357. I'd pay nearly 3 times the original amount. For groceries, for gas, for a jacket I wore twice. But I didn't know this. Because credit card companies don't make it obvious. They just send you a statement every month that says, minimum payment, due $96. And you think, okay, I can afford that. You don't realize you're being slowly bled dry. By 25, I had 6 credit cards and $28,000 in debt. I was working 10-hour days picking up freelance projects on the weekends, and I was still falling behind. The stress was unbearable. I stopped sleeping. I started having panic attacks. I'd wake up at 3 a.m. with my heart racing, thinking about the bills I couldn't pay. My relationship started to fall apart. My girlfriend could tell something was wrong, but I kept lying. "Are you okay?" she'd ask. "Yeah, just tired from work." "Are you sure? You seem off." "I'm fine." Really. But I wasn't fine. I was breaking. And then one day, I got a call from Capital One. "Mr. Parker, your account is 30 days past due. You need to make a payment immediately, or we'll have to report this to the credit bureaus." I'd missed a payment for the first time. I scrambled to transfer money from another card to cover it, but that just created a new problem. I was now using credit cards to pay credit cards. I was juggling debt, moving it around, playing a financial shell game, and every month the total kept growing. By 26, I had 7 credit cards. Total debt, $43,000. Minimum payments, $1,200 a month. At this point, I was paying more in credit card payments than I was paying in rent. Let me say that again. I was spending more money every month just to stay in debt than I was spending to keep a roof over my head. And the worst part? Despite sending $1,200 a month to credit card companies, my balance was barely going down. In some months, it went up, because the interest was compounding faster than I could pay it off. Here's how the math worked. Let's say my total balance was $43,000 and my average APR was 23%. Every month I was being charged $824 in interest alone. So out of my $1,200 monthly payment, only $376 was going toward the actual debt. The rest was just paying interest. It was like running on a treadmill that kept speeding up. I was working harder and harder just to stay in the same place. During this time, I became an expert at lying. When my parents asked how I was doing, I'd say, "Great. Work is going really well." When friends invited me out, I'd say, "I'm busy this weekend," instead of admitting I couldn't afford it. When my girlfriend wanted to go on a trip, I'd say, "Let's wait until things calm down at work," instead of saying, "I have $67 in my checking account." I became a ghost. I stopped answering calls. I stopped going out. I stopped living because living costs money, and I didn't have any. Every dollar I made was already spent before I even earned it. I'd get paid on Friday, and by Monday my account would be empty. Rent, car payment, credit card minimums, student loans, gone, and the cycle would start over. The moment everything changed was on a random Tuesday afternoon. I was sitting at my desk at work, staring at my bank account on my phone. I had 7 different browser tabs open, one for each credit card. Chase, $7,200. Discover, $5,800. Capital One, $6,100. American Express, $4,300. Citi, $8,900. Bank of America, $6,400. Wells Fargo, $4,300. Total $43,000. And then I did something I'd been avoiding for years. I calculated how long it would take to pay off if I only made minimum payments. The answer? 37 years. I'd be 63 years old, and the total amount I'd pay? $127,482. I stared at that number for 20 minutes. $127,482. For what? For dinners I didn't remember. For clothes I didn't wear. For trips I couldn't afford. I'd paid them over $30,000 over the past 4 years, and I still owed $43,000. That's when it hit me. I wasn't a customer. I was a product. Credit card companies didn't want me to pay off my debt. They wanted me to stay in it forever. Because as long as I was in debt, I was generating profit for them. I started researching, and what I found made me sick. The credit card industry is a $200 billion business, not because of annual fees or late fees, though those help. It's because of interest. The average American household carries $6,270 in credit card debt. And at an average APR of 20%, that's $1,254 in interest per year, per household. Multiply that by 45 million households, and you get over $56 billion in interest alone. But it gets worse. Credit card companies don't actually want you to default. They don't want you to declare bankruptcy. They want you to stay in debt forever, making minimum payments, because that's where the real money is. Let me give you an example. Let's say you have a $10,000 balance at 22% APR. If you pay only the minimum, let's say 2% of the balance. Here's what happens. Year 1, you pay $10,000, $2,400. Your balance drops to $9,800. Year 5, you've paid $10,500. Your balance is $8,200. Year 10, you've paid $18,000. Your balance is $5,900. Year 20, you've paid $18,000, $28,000. Your balance is $2,100. Year 28, you've paid $34,000. Balance is finally zero. You paid $34,000 to clear a $10,000 debt. That's a 340% return for the bank. That's the business model. But the credit card industry doesn't just trap you with math. They trap you with psychology. Tactic 1, the pre-approval letter. They send you offers constantly. You've been pre-approved. It makes you feel special, chosen, like you've earned this. But the truth? They send those letters to millions of people. It's spam. But it's designed to make you feel like they trust you. Tactic 2. Rewards programs. Earn 5% cash back, get airline miles, build points. They make you think you're winning. But if you're carrying a balance and paying 20% interest, that 5% cash back is meaningless. You're paying $200 in interest to earn $10 in rewards. Tactic 3. Minimum payment deception. The statement says, minimum payment $96. It doesn't say, if you pay only this, you'll be in debt for 23 years and pay $14,000 in interest. Because if they said that, no one would do it. Tactic 4. The illusion of affordability. $3,000 laptop. Sounds expensive. But $125 a month for 24 months? That sounds manageable. Except at 20% interest, you'll actually pay $3,600 for that laptop. They hide the true cost behind monthly payments. After my 37-year calculation, I knew I had to change. I called my parents. I told them everything. There was silence on the other end. Then my dad said, "Why didn't you tell us sooner?" I didn't have an answer. Shame, pride, fear. My mom said, "Okay, we're going to help you figure this out." We sat down and made a plan. Step 1, stop using the cards. Immediately, I cut them up, all 7, right there at the kitchen table. It felt like ripping off a Band-Aid, painful but necessary. Step 2, avalanche method. I listed all my debts from highest interest rate to lowest. Every extra dollar I could scrape together went toward the highest rate card. Once that was paid off, I'd move to the next one. Step 3, increase income. I picked up a second job, delivering food on weekends. It sucked, but I needed the money. Step 4, decrease expenses. I moved out of my apartment and back in with my parents. Humiliating? Yes. Necessary? Absolutely. I stopped eating out. I stopped buying anything that wasn't essential. I became obsessed with paying off the debt. It took 3 years. 3 years of working 2 jobs, 3 years of living like a broke college student, 3 years of saying no to everything. But I did it. At 29 years old, I made the final payment, $43,000. Gone. The relief I felt was indescribable. But so was the anger. I'd paid over $60,000 to clear $43,000 in debt. $17,000 went straight to interest. That's $17,000 I'll never get back. Money I could have used for a down payment on a house, or invested, or saved. Instead, it went to Visa, MasterCard, and American Express. After I got out of debt, I started digging deeper into the credit card industry, and what I found was disturbing. Fact 1, they target the vulnerable credit card companies specifically market to college students, people with low incomes, and those already in debt. Why? Because those are the people most likely to carry a balance. Fact 2, they profit from your mistakes. Late fee, $35. Over-limit fee, $40. Return payment fee, $30. The average American pays $120 a year in credit card fees. That's nearly $5 billion industry-wide. Fact 3, the system is rigged, universal default clause. If you miss a payment on one card, all your other cards can raise your interest rate. Even if you've never missed a payment with them, they share information, and they use it against you. Fact 4, they lobby to keep the system broken. Credit card companies spend over $60 million a year on lobbying to prevent regulations that would protect consumers. They fight against interest rate caps. They fight against clearer disclosure requirements because the system works for them, and they want to keep it that way. You might be thinking, well, I'm not like Alex. I'm responsible with my cards. And maybe you are. But here's the reality. 45% of Americans carry a credit card balance month to month. The average household has $6,270 in credit card debt. 14% of Americans have over $10,000 in credit card debt. Americans paid $130 billion in credit card interest and fees in 2023 alone. This isn't a personal failure. This is systemic. The system is designed to trap you, and it works. Even if you think you're being careful, the math is against you. One emergency, one job loss, one unexpected expense, and suddenly you're in the spiral. Here's what I realized after getting out. Debt isn't just about money, it's about control. When you're in debt, you can't take risks. You can't quit a job you hate. You can't start a business. You can't say no to your boss. You're trapped. You have to keep working, keep paying, keep feeding the machine. And that's exactly how they want it. Because a population in debt is a population that can't rebel, can't demand change, can't take time off to protest or organize or think critically. You're too busy working to pay off your credit cards. This is the real purpose of consumer debt. It's not about buying things you can't afford. It's about keeping you compliant. If I could go back and talk to my 22-year-old self, here's what I'd say. Lesson 1. There's no such thing as free money. Every dollar you borrow costs you more than a dollar to pay back. Sometimes a lot more. Lesson 2. Minimum payments are a scam. They're designed to keep you in debt as long as possible. Always pay more than the minimum. Always. Lesson 3. Interest is the enemy. Compound interest works for you when you're investing. It works against you when you're in debt, and it's ruthless. Lesson 4. Credit cards are not for building wealth. They're for building someone else's wealth, the bank's wealth. Lesson 5. If you can't afford it now, you can't afford it with a credit card. Putting something on a card doesn't make it more affordable. It makes it more expensive. So what should you do instead? Option 1. Use a debit card. You can only spend what you have. Simple. Option 2. If you must use a credit card, pay it off every month, in full, no exceptions. Treat it like a debit card that gives you rewards. Option 3. Build an emergency fund. Even $1,000 can prevent you from needing to use a credit card when something unexpected happens. Option 4. If you're already in debt, prioritize paying it off. Use the avalanche method, highest interest first, or the snowball method, smallest balance first. Just pick one and stick to it. Option 5. Avoid lifestyle inflation. When you get a raise, don't increase your spending. Increase your savings or debt payments. Today, I'm 28 years old. I've been debt-free for 6 months. I still work 2 jobs, but now I'm saving money instead of paying interest. I have $8,000 in an emergency fund. I'm contributing to a 401k. I'm building a life. It's not glamorous. I still live with my parents. I still drive a 12-year-old car. I still say no to expensive dinners, but I'm free. I don't owe anyone anything, and that feeling is priceless. If you're in debt right now, I want you to know something. It's not your fault. Yes, you made the purchases, but the system is rigged against you. Credit card companies spend billions on marketing, psychology, and lobbying to trap you in debt. They're not your friends. They're not helping you. They're exploiting you. But you can get out. It won't be easy. It won't be fast. It won't be fun. But it's possible. I did it. And if I can, you can too. Just remember, that piece of plastic in your wallet isn't freedom. It's a chain. And the only way to be free is to break it.